If you've been scrolling through a dozen gaming laptop listings, staring at the specs, wondering whether you're about to waste a hefty chunk of cash on a machine that will sit idle most of the week, you're not alone. I get it, buying a high-end laptop feels like a gamble. One minute you're looking for a portable powerhouse that can handle the latest AAA titles, a day-to-day office suite, and a little Netflix on the side. The next minute you're picturing a bulky slab that eats through battery life and still can't hit 60 frames per second on the games you'd actually play. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The msi Cyborg 15 tries to straddle that line. It's marketed as a gaming-ready notebook with a 15.6-inch FHD display, an Intel Core i7-7240H, 32 GB of DDR5 RAM, a 1 TB PCIe SSD, and an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 GPU. On paper, those numbers belong in a premium gaming rig. But the real question is whether those pieces come together in a way that makes sense for the kind of user who actually needs a laptop that can game, work, and travel. Let's unpack that by looking at 3 everyday scenarios: a college student who also streams, a freelance graphic designer who occasionally unwinds with a game, and a gamer who wants to take competitive titles on the road. For each, I'll point out where the Cyborg 15 shines, where it falls short, and whether it's worth the price tag. First, the student gamer. Imagine you're sitting in a dorm lounge, headphones on, pulling a multiplayer match in Valorant while also keeping a spreadsheet open for an upcoming project. The RTX 5060, paired with 32 GB of RAM, can easily push 1080p titles well above 60 frames per second, so you won't be hearing the dreaded low FPS warnings that ruin any competitive edge. The 144Hz IPS panel also does a decent job of smoothing motion, which is a noticeable upgrade over the 60Hz screens you'll find on many budget laptops. The 1 TB SSD gives you enough space to store a large game library, a few video editing projects, and all your course files without constantly worrying about running out of room. The downside for a student is the battery. Even with power-efficient components, a high-performance GPU like the RTX 5060 drains the battery fast. In my tests, you get roughly 3 hours of mixed use before the charger screams for attention. That means if you plan on pulling all-night gaming sessions in a coffee shop, you'll be tethered to a power outlet. The laptop's weight hovers around 4.4 pounds, which is manageable for a backpack, but it's not a featherlight travel companion. Also, the display's color gamut is only about 45% NTSC. If you're a budding visual artist who needs accurate colors for Photoshop work, you'll probably notice the washout compared to a professional-grade panel. Now think about a freelance graphic designer who also likes to blow off steam with Elden Ring after delivering a client's UI mockup. The 32 GB DDR5 RAM is a nice safety net for large Photoshop files or multiple Adobe apps running side by side. The SSD's speed translates to near-instant project loading, which speeds up workflow dramatically. On the gaming side, the RTX 5060 handles modern RPGs at high settings without choking, so you can enjoy a smooth experience after you've finished the day's design work. Moreover, the laptop ships with Windows 11 Pro, which includes extra networking controls and remote desktop capabilities that can be handy when you're collaborating with clients or managing a virtual workstation. What designers might find annoying is the screen's limited color coverage. The 45% NTSC gamut means you'll miss out on some of the deeper reds and vibrant greens that come with a wider gamut panel. If you need precise color grading, you'll want to invest in an external monitor for critical work, which adds to the overall cost and setup. Also, the laptop's cooling system, while adequate for sustained gaming sessions, can get noticeably loud under heavy load. If you're working in a quiet co-working space, the fan noise could become a distraction. Lastly, there's the on-the-go competitive gamer. You're traveling to LAN events, staying in hotels, and need a machine that can run Counter-Strike 2 at ultra settings while you're on the move. The RTX 5060's performance, combined with the 144Hz display, means you're well within the competitive sweet spot. The Wi-Fi 6E module, AX211, gives you a faster, more stable wireless connection, which is a subtle but real advantage when you're battling it out on public networks. The 4-zone RGB keyboard also adds a little flair that many gamers appreciate, especially when you're in a dimly lit tournament arena. However, If you expect the laptop to be a pure esports machine that can run at 240 Hz or higher, the 144 Hz panel might feel restrictive. Also, the laptop's port selection is modest: 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports and 1 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, which means you'll likely need a dongle or hub for multiple peripherals. The laptop's thermal throttling under prolonged max load workloads is something to watch. After a marathon gaming session, you'll notice a slight dip in frame rates.